Well, hello, dear listener. Welcome once again to the Gaming Aroma podcast, your video game chat podcast with me, KDB, fueled by coffee, back once again. Guess who's back? It is me. I'm back after a little bit of a break. I think I haven't done an episode in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, which is really bad. I'm not making excuses. The long and short of it is I have had a lot on in real life. But yeah, getting on with that. And I also, I actually wanted to do an episode last weekend, but I had to work last weekend at an event at a dog show. That's right. I helped host and run a dog show, which was fantastic. The weather was stunning. It was a good day. But yeah, all the planning, I've had stuff going on in my personal life, but all the planning at work and stuff took up so much time into that weekend. And then I had to work on Sunday. So yeah, I just had to kind of sack off the podcast for a couple of weeks, which I do apologize for, because I know, and this is not hyperbole, this is a fact. There's some of you out there that say, "Where's my Gaming Aroma podcast?" You DM me, you message me, you know who you are. You're like, "What's going on? My Sundays aren't the same. I can't do this. I need my gap fix." Well, I'm back. Here to fix you. Here to fix your gap. Anyway, it's Sunday. And do you know what? You're lucky you're getting this episode, because it's not just any Sunday. Not just any given Sunday. That's a great film, right? Is that the name of the film? Any Given Sunday? The American football one with Al Pacino. Any Given Sunday, American sports drama film directed. Yeah, Oliver Stone, starring Al Pacino, Cameron Diaz, Dennis Quaid, Jamie Foxx, James Woods. Oh yeah, fuck that guy. LL Cool J, Anne Margaret. There's a huge cast in this. I remember that film being really good. What's the reception? Let's just go to Wikipedia. The film received mixed reviews. Rotten Tomatoes has given it an aggregated score of 52%. 5.5 out of 10. Wow, okay, so I just remember watching it when I was quite young. So obviously 99. What am I, 99? I was 12. And it was like, it is a very adult film, but I remember really connecting with it. Anyway, I've gone off on a tangent. This is not the Movie Aroma podcast. This is the Gaming Aroma podcast. But yes, it's not just any given Sunday. It is Father's Day. It is Dad's Day. It is Daddy Day. And and maybe I should be doing family and Father's Day stuff. But no, here I am recording a podcast for you fine people. I have actually been out with my family today. This podcast will be coming out later, because we've been out enjoying the sunshine, take my kid for a bike ride, had a coffee out in the sun. So this is now my third coffee of the day, which is all good. But yeah, happy Father's Day to all the dads and father figures out there. You got this. Keep at it. Keep doing that awesome work and all that stuff. I love being a dad. I really do. Like, it's both the best and, I was going to say best and worst job I've ever had, and I need to be careful what I'm saying here. So, it's the best, the best and most difficult job I've ever had. But of course, it's not a job. It's not a job. It's just, it is dad is a title I hold, but it's not actually a job. To call it a job kind of, that demeans it a little bit, but I suppose, but you know what I'm saying. What other word would you use to describe it? It's a role I'm fulfilling. I don't even know. I've not really thought about it, but let's just, for the sake of this podcast and not being 2 hours long, call it a job. It's the best job I've ever had. It's the hardest job I've ever had. It's the most rewarding thing in my life by far. And I know those are all cliched things to say, but it's true. And I think you don't understand until you're a parent. There is that joke that, well, it's not a joke, a thing that you hear. People don't understand about being a parent unless you are a parent. And people think they do. I used to think that I knew, what it was like to be a parent. I've got parents. I've seen other parents. You kind of think you know what the deal is. You don't know the deal. I'm telling you now, you don't know. It's not possible for you to know. yeah, it's the most surreal, crazy, wonderful, testing, challenging thing I've ever done. And yeah, I love being a dad. I'm wearing my bluey themed dad t-shirt today, wearing it proudly. Got that for Father's Day. In terms of being a dad gamer, that's a funny thing, right? Because gaming habits, they change. Gone are the days where I would have, I think back to some of my like gaming sessions at a weekend. Like if my wife and I had no plans and I was just gaming, I might get to play video games all day. Like I'm talking 12 hours. I rarely played the same game 12 hours straight, but I'd jump around and play different games, right? I don't, those days are gone. I mean, I don't get those type of long gaming sessions. Gaming in the day is almost completely off the table unless there's like a situation where I'm not at work, and my son is not in the house because he's at school, or maybe I'm at home and I'm unwell. And yeah, so it's very rare that I have a window of opportunity to game for extended periods of time. And being a parent is largely the main reason for that. Like having a job is one thing, but you know, at least then generally at the weekends you have more free time. And then when you get home from work, you have free time. But all the parents out there will know, all the dads will know, that's not how it works. You come home from work and do the post-work routine, dinner with the family, you know, bath time, shower time, bedtime, book time. Then there's obviously chores to do around the house, you know, cleaning up, tidying up after all that chaos. And you might finally get to sit down and collapse onto the sofa at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night. And then you're too fucking tired to play games. So I often find myself reverting back to playing games for an hour or so, or an hour or two. Like if I can get a couple of hours in the evening, that's good. But I'm gaming while tired, and that means it's hard to fully invest yourself sometimes. So you'll just, you know, you'll go back a game that doesn't require you to use your brain. Investing time into 100-hour campaigns is a scary thought that you need like months of prep and mental prep to get yourself ready for. Yeah, it's, you know, it happens and I make it work from time to time, but I do sacrifice sleep to be a gamer these days, and being a dad is a big reason for that. Sorry, my phone is going off. Now, I am quite lucky that, obviously I'm not a single parent. My wife is around and she takes off a load of parenting work as well because she's awesome. Which means I do get to game, but, you know, I feel for people who are single parents out there. Like, it's a scary thought how they get through it. Wow, this is going down a bit of a pensive road. I'm just thankful I'm not doing it by myself, because it means that I do still get those windows of opportunity to be a gamer, even as a dad. But then moving on from that, being a gamer dad means being able to share gaming with my kid. And that is an experience that might be more rewarding than any gaming experience I've ever had by myself. The fact that my kid is into games, so he's like 5.5 now, so he's fully able to play games. I think about when I was first playing games, I must have been 4 years old. We got a NES, a Nintendo Entertainment System. I say we, my older brother got it. And I don't know if I've said on this podcast before, I'm pretty sure the first video game I ever played at home was Excitebike. So yeah, I was really young. And then yeah, now being older, obviously with my long sordid history with gaming, I can now pass it on to my kid. And he plays a bunch of stuff. Like he plays new stuff and he plays old stuff. Like, and he actually really loves old games. Like he really loves Super Mario 64. He loves Mario Kart. Some more modern games he likes. He goes nuts for Goat Simulator, particularly Goat Simulator 3. Now I'm telling you now, my 5.5-year-old kid I think he has every single achievement on Goat Simulator 3, and that's all him. I might have like jumped in 1 or 2 times to where he was really, really struggling with a certain little move that he had to do, and I just kind of gave him a little nudge along. But generally, he, like all the achievements on that game, he got them himself. So that was impressive. He loves Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare. He loves what else does he play? Currently, he likes Little Kitty Big City. He does play a bit of Minecraft, but he doesn't really like build anything. He just wanders around and kind of just does stuff and kills spiders and things. What else is he playing right now? Little Gator game on Xbox Game Pass, where you play this little alligator. It's like a Zelda game, but for little kids, and it's really, really easy. That's good fun. That's cute. He loves Shredder's Revenge, TMNT Shredder's Revenge. He's got like, I don't know, probably 50 hours in that game. And we can play that together, and we can play lots of these games together. This is my point. We play lots of 2-player games together, lots of couch co-op. He likes to watch me play games as well, and I do my best to make sure he's not watching anything that's going to completely warp his mind. And his gaming time is limited, and we don't want him to be completely sucked into that because his little mind is still developing. And I don't want him playing hours and hours and hours and not being able to sleep at night because his brain is on override, sort of overrun mode. And he's all overhyped because of all the feedback from gaming. What else does he play? The Bluey video game. That's 2 Bluey mentions on this podcast today. Yeah, he plays so much stuff and he loves it. And he gets, like, seeing him get it and seeing him able to function in these games by himself at such a young age, I'm so impressed because he's doing better at games than I was at his age. And it's awesome to be able to be a dad and have this thing that I like that my kid is showing an interest in. Now, he might grow out of it. He might hate games when he gets older, but for now, they're a big part of his life and he loves video games. And I love that I'm able to share that with him. So happy Father's Day to all the dads and dad gamers out there. So, in terms of current video game stuff, what was I going to talk about? News-wise, I mean, Showcase season is done. Showcase season is completely over, I guess now. I don't think there's any more to come, right? What's later in the year? Gamescom. Is that what's coming up in August? Gamescom and then like Tokyo Game Show and stuff. But we've had, obviously, recently Sony State of Play, Summer Games Fest or Game Fest, and the Xbox showcased. Ubisoft, I think, had a showcase as well. There's an indie thing and a Steam thing. Lots of stuff been on show these past few weeks. Thought I'd talk about some of my highlights and thoughts on showcase season. Straight off the bat, in terms of showcases and impact, I think it's no shock to you to hear me say that I think Xbox had the best showcase of the week or couple of weeks or whatever it was. And so they should. My buddy Alex from the Gears Intel podcast and of A Winner Is You fame said on our Gears of War show that we did that this is the way it should be. Microsoft have spent all this money on all these games and studios. They should be having the biggest showcase. And if they're not, there's a problem. So it felt like after these last few years with, their acquisitions and stuff and the ups and downs that the company's had, it was like, oh, here's the games. Here they all are. That showcase, incredible diversity, incredible blockbusters, something for everyone. Very well done trailers for the most part that, focused on the games and gameplay usually. I mean, there was some gameplay lacking in certain areas, but we got a decent chunk of gameplay from things like Doom, for example, which they could have just shown a cinematic trailer for. But yeah, so Xbox did incredibly well with their showcase, and it's been, a rough old time for that company. It's a rough old time for the gaming industry. We know, I've talked about it on here. Xbox takes the brunt of the abuse and the criticism, which I think is for 2 reasons. One is because, yes, they are Microsoft and they're the biggest company in the world or something like that. Sony and Nintendo, these big corporations as well. But Microsoft is the big beast that's hoovering everything up. So everyone loves to take shots at them when they're messing stuff up and doing things wrong, because it's an easy target. And they've got a lot of responsibility out there, so they should be called out when they're doing things wrong. But the other reason they take a lot of shit is because they are the third place console. There's more fans of Sony and Nintendo out there, so obviously the complaints against Microsoft are louder, and any opportunity that comes up to have a go at them, it just comes to the forefront. And we know that 90% of the video games journalists out there all play on PlayStation and PC. They don't, Microsoft and Xbox isn't their preferred place to play. You look at game reviews on review sites, more reviews come in for the PlayStation platform and for the multi-platform games. So there's that inherent, people call it the Xbox tax. That's a loaded phrase. And obviously there is no conspiracy against Xbox, which is what some people say the Xbox tax is. What it is, it's just a natural bias, because Xbox isn't where the journalists play. It's just not. It's not where the games get reviewed. And I find it's funny when I see a lot of very, I guess, experienced, high-profile game content creators and journalists saying things that show that actually that they don't understand how the Xbox platform works. Things with like cloud saves and cross-save and cross-progression and all that. And the way backwards compatibility, the way backwards compatibility works. The way that quick resume works. Like, people think that other platforms have quick resume. They don't. You're just wrong. They don't. And that shows that you don't know what quick resume actually is. Other platforms have it for one game or something like that. And the way it works is very different to how quick resume works on Xbox. And I'm not going to explain it here. Go watch some demo videos of it, and then you'll realize that if you're a PlayStation person listening to this podcast, PS5 does not have quick resume. The way backwards compatibility works and versions of the game, the way Xbox just gives you the right version, even if it's Xbox One or Xbox Series X and X, whereas PlayStation 4 and 5, there's still some conflict around how that works. Some people still don't understand how Game Pass works, which is crazy, and that's completely on Xbox's. That's the blame at that is at their feet for not marketing Game Pass correctly. People think that PlayStation Now is the same as Game Pass. It isn't. It just isn't. So when I see, I watch a lot of stuff. I watch loads of stuff from gaming channels, and they're chatting away about Xbox, and it's like, oh, you've never switched an Xbox on in the past 7 years because you don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so that's what the Xbox tax is. It's just the natural inherent bias, because that's not where they play. It's not a conspiracy. It's just that's what you get because they're the third place platform. And then on the flip side, there has been a few very questionable cases of journalism from people where it's like, okay, this is not just you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to Xbox. You clearly do hate the platform, and there's an ideology thing going on here. And people have been caught out basically red-handed. And I'm not going to name the publications. I think anyone who pays attention to this stuff knows. And I'm sure, that will continue. That will continue. And don't get me wrong, there's crazy people on the Xbox side as well. Some people I don't enjoy at all. But they won showcase season without a doubt. Some of my highlights off the top of my head, the Power Rangers game, holy shit, talking about games I want to play with my kid. I showed him the trailer for that and he about lost his mind. Which is obviously, it looks very similar to Shredder's Revenge, that kind of throwback beat 'em up style. They've captured that old kind of Mega Drive feeling. Can't wait to play that. That's a day one thing for me. Doom The Dark Ages, I've mentioned. Like, Doom is a game, I haven't really played Doom Eternal and Doom 2016. Not because I think they look bad, I just never got round to them. And I feel like seeing that trailer has just spurred me on to play the others. And weirdly, before that trailer was announced, before that game was announced, I had been playing Doom 3, the original Doom 3. Been playing through that, having a good time with that. So yeah, very excited for Doom: The Dark Ages. It just looks metal as fuck, and you know, the weapons and the way it's working, it's like, yeah, this is video games, you know? That's the kind of thing you want. I thought South of Midnight looked great as well. Other big stuff, like Call of Duty is coming to Game Pass, as we know. I will play the campaign. I'm happy to play a mindless Call of Duty campaign. The last one I bought was the previous Black Ops, Cold War, because I thought the concept and the trailer, everything looked cool and stylish, and I was really pleased with that, and I was happy with that as the campaign. Played a bit of the multiplayer, but yeah, that was the last Call of Duty I bought, and I think before that I hadn't bought a Call of Duty in like 7 years. So I'm looking at playing only 2 Call of Duties in the last decade. One was Black Ops Cold War, and now the next one's going to be Black Ops 6. Excuse me. That trailer was obviously very well put together, soundtrack by The Prodigy. It looked high production value. Yeah, COD isn't my thing really, but just a brainless military campaign that's coming to Game Pass. Why wouldn't I play it? Why wouldn't I play it? Just to sample, you know, the tech and what they're doing, and apparently a lot's gone into it. It's one of the most lengthy dev cycles of recent Call of Duties and could be interesting. But, of course, the biggest thing that really got me going was Gears of War is back. Gears of War E-Day got announced. Now, I'm not going to talk about it at length on here. I do have a Gears of War show, Gears Intel. Go and follow it on YouTube and your podcast platform of choice. We have a Twitter account, Gears_Intel. A day after the trailer got released, me, David, and Alex got together and did a reaction discussion to the trailer. You can hear all my thoughts on there, but the too long didn't read version is so emotional, so happy, so excited that Gears of War is back. It looks fucking incredible just from that cinematic trailer. It's probably a couple of years away, but I don't mind. I'm just satiated and happy that there was confirmation that it's still alive and well and a game is being made. I've got that to look forward to. So yeah, very hype about Gears of War. Can't wait. What else was at Showcase that really blew my mind? There's a few other things, I'm sure. Like on the other showcases, I think the Power Rangers one wasn't even revealed at the Xbox thing, was it? That was at the Summer Game Fest. So, you know, on the PlayStation side, like Astrobot looks amazing. Like finally, Sony doing the diverse games. That's what I want Sony to do. And I talked a little while ago about how Stellar Blade got me interested, the closest so far in actually buying a console. Like games as good as they are, like Horizon, God of War, and The Last of Us, and Spider-Man, I just don't want to buy a PS5 just for that. There's too much similarity between them. It's like, yeah, those games look great, but it's a lot of money just for that kind of style of game and a Spider-Man game. You know, so when things like Stellar Blade come along and more diverse stuff like Astrobot, like what looks like a true classic platformer, this is a diversity I want. And, you know, when that PS5 Pro gets announced, depending on the price, I don't know, I might be all in, you know, or at least I'll just pick up one of the older models of the PS5 if they go cheap, you know, and I can finally jump in, because that's what you want Sony to do, is to do other stuff. And rightly so, everybody is saying how good that looks. So yeah, despite them having a terrible showcase, or state of play, as it was called, which people I think now are trying to play down and say, look, of course it's terrible. It was just a state of play. It's like, come on, lads. Like, you want to make an impact here, do it properly. Lego Horizon was announced at Summer Game Fest and not the Sony Game Fest, and is coming to every platform apart from Xbox, apparently. I mean, how fucking spiteful is that? Now, from what I understand, it is coming to Xbox. There's a few rumours floating around, and, you know, I'm not one for the rumours and leaks, but this is regarding a platform release. I don't think it matters too much. It's like, and clearly there is a spiteful marketing thing going on here that shouldn't be happening. From what I understand, it is going to come to Xbox soon. But the fact that Sony are making the jump and putting Horizon on Switch and PC and stuff day one. And yes, it's just a Lego game, but that's what you've got to do. And you'd love to see that, get to more people and introduce them to Horizon and the Lego games. Yeah, there's a ton of them. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. I've played quite a few. Would I play this? I'm probably not going to buy it day one for the Switch or anything, but yeah, it looks cool. I think it's really cool to see them. I would like to see a Lego Gears of War game. You know what I mean? I know they did that stupid Funko Pop thing, but I don't want that. I want a Lego Gears of War game would be awesome. I like it when franchises just kind of have fun and go into the different genres and different styles. So that's awesome to see. But yeah, Sony, if it's coming to Xbox and they're not announcing it, it's just like, come on, what are you doing? They need to move past this. And I in this gap of podcasts that I've done, or that I've been on, I haven't really had time or had an opportunity to talk about that strategy, that meeting thing that Sony had, where they basically said nothing's changing apart from live service games will probably go on PC day one. And there was this weird thing where they tried to say that they think they will entice PC players. So, to play like God of War on the PC, which means they will then invest in a PS5 to play the sequel of God of War, rather than wait until the sequel comes to PC, a couple of years later. And that was a bold statement. Thinking that PC players, people who've spent like, £3,000 on their rig, are going to buy a PS5 just to play one game a year. No, I think they'll just wait and play it on their PC. Loads of people have PCs and PS5s as well. Lots of people do. But, I don't think you're going to convert anyone that way. Do you know what I mean? So I think the people you wanted to convert have already been converted because they've just got enough money to invest in all the platforms anyway, which I wish I did. I'd love a high-tech gaming PC. Can't afford it. And I love the console experience, to be honest. I prefer it. I do, I was thinking about PC gaming and my gateway into PC gaming, and I think it probably would be a Steam Deck. And I don't think, you don't need a PC to have a Steam Deck, right? You can just have it as it is. And then maybe that's my way into having a Steam account finally and buying games through Steam. So I'd love a Steam Deck. That'd be a great gateway to PC gaming for me. A gateway drug. Yeah, so lots of stuff at the showcase. I'm not doing a full breakdown, just rambling off the top of my head. Excited for Gears of War, excited for Power Rangers, Doom. Yeah, and Sony need to probably step up their game because everyone is excited about Astrobot, but we didn't get any other huge announcements, right? Nothing to make you think that you're going to be super, super busy with Sony first party. First showcase season in a long time with no Resident Evil announcement, is that right? Which is weird. We don't know where Resident Evil's going, when the next game's coming, what it's going to be. Yeah, Resi was strangely absent from showcase season. Tokyo Game Show, I guess, later in the year. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to get a reveal till next year now for what's next for Resident Evil. Anyway, so that was showcase season. What did you think? Who do you think, quote unquote, won showcase season? I think it was definitely Xbox. Jeff Keighley came out of the whole thing looking as stupid as ever in multiple ways, because obviously loads of people thought Summer Game Fest was weak. He got slaughtered in his poll thing that he did where everyone rated it a D. And then he took some shit for trying to call out the Gears of War trailer and implied that it was a completely CG trailer. And then he got called out by people that work at Gears of War saying, no, it's a cinematic put together using assets from the game. Sorry, buddy. Glad you like it, though. So I quite liked that. We talked about that on the Gears Intel show as well. And then Keighley edited his tweet because, yes, he was very wrong about that. Off the back of showcase season, I think I just excited that having an Xbox feels like it's going to still be loaded with games. The Starfield DLC looks Starfield looked like a different game from that DLC trailer, right? I'm calling it DLC. It's being called an expansion. Apparently it's a huge expansion as well. So very excited for that. Plenty to keep me busy. In terms of getting people hyped about what they're doing again, they did the job. It's been a rough old time for Xbox. Back on board. Very happy with how the games went. You know, we're putting the business aside for a second, and yeah, all looks lots of good stuff. Now, what have I been playing? A few things. Obviously, I've been playing stuff since the previous episode. I'm not going to go through everything, so I'm just going to talk about what I've been playing this past week. I'm going to start with Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie is one of my Hall of Shame games that I've never played. But I know people bang on about it, and it's been back in the conversation. People want it to come back and have a new Banjo game. My buddy Alex is a big Banjo-Kazooie apologist, and he's always saying how great it is. And yeah, I've chucked it on, and this game makes Super Mario 64 look like a demo. It came out, like a year later? Is that right? Let's have a quick fact check live on the show. Super Mario 64 was released 23rd of June 1996, one day after my birthday. Well, not my birth year, but you know, my birthday's the 22nd of June. So it's coming up. So next weekend is a birthday podcast for me. Maybe I should do something special for that, right? I'm going to have a think. Well, like I said, I've got some shit going on in life, so I don't know if there's going to be a podcast next weekend. I hope there is. So June 1996, and Banjo-Kazooie release dates. You want to give me the release date, please? 29th of June 1998. So basically 2 years exactly. And first came out on the Nintendo 64. So yeah, it obviously took a lot of influence from Super Mario 64, but the games feel like they're a decade apart in what they can do. So yeah, I guess I was taken by surprise. Very quickly, like within an hour, I was like, okay, I can see why people love this game. You know, all the different stuff, and more as I've gone on and played it. I think I'm about 4 hours into it or something like that. You know, all the different moves you can do, all the different things to collect, and the way the puzzles are, to find the jigsaw pieces. The script is hilarious. Like, I shared a tweet of a clip from the game with the witch's sister, gives you facts about her sister and just completely slates her and gives these savage responses. And one of them said that her sister, the witch, is constantly on the cover of Fat Hag Monthly, and that floored me. It's very British, you know, late 90s humor, you know, all in good fun. Some of it's just like, oh, that's a bit savage and close to the edge for these days, but I think it's all fine. I think there's nothing bad in there that, you know, you couldn't get away with today. So it's all in good fun, tongue-in-cheek stuff. Unbelievably good, you know, and just like I say, so much better than Super Mario 64. It makes Mario 64 look like a demo. The characters are fun, the levels are fun and challenging. There's some stuff that had me banging my head against the wall and repeatedly trying to do things over and over again. Now, of course, it is my first time playing it. I'm sure there's pros out there that played it when they were kids that are like, what are you talking about? You can breeze through this. I'm sure there's loads of secrets and stuff that I'm missing, but I'm just having so much fun going through a bright and colourful platformer that, despite being 20 years old, what did I say, 1998? No, 20, fucking hell, so over 20 years old. Jesus. Is it 30? Not 30 yet, so 20. My brain can't function, it's Sunday. Let's have a sip of coffee. 24 years old. Got there in the end. For a 24-year-old game, kind of unbelievable how good this is. No wonder people want it to come back. Obviously, I don't know if you'd capture the same magic, and I know there's been sequels, and I'll probably dip into those and have a look over the next few weeks or something, or few months, if I get time. But yeah, it's so nice to just play a game, and I mentioned at the start of the show about playing a game in the evening when you don't want to be too pressed because you're tired. It's a perfect little evening game that's making me smile. And yeah, my kid has been watching me play it as well. So yeah, really, really loving Banjo-Kazooie. That's I'm going to finish it, going to see it through. And yeah, can't believe I've gone all these years without playing it. Again, I didn't have a Nintendo 64. It just passed me by, and I know it came out on the 360. It was always like, oh, I'll get to it. I will get to it. And then you just never do. There's so many games. Yeah, loving it. And then what else? So what else have I been playing this past week? Alan Wake 2 DLC or expansion, Night Springs. It finally arrived. At Summer Game Fest, Sam Lake revealed it, which was awesome. I love when people do reveals and say, this is out now or out tomorrow. We don't get enough of that, and I think it's so cool when that happens. Now, from a marketing perspective, and in terms of generating the buzz for it, is it the best way to do it? Probably not. I was popping achievements in Alan Wake 2 DLC, and they were all coming up as... So on Xbox, you get what's called like diamond achievements, and that's like rarity, or it's how much it's been unlocked. And even just the achievements for just progressing through the DLC were all popping as diamonds. And it's like, not very many people are playing this right now. And, I was playing it during the week post-release. I didn't play it the day after. It was like 3 days after it came out. I started playing it, and I played it over 3 evenings. Shadow dropping, if you like. They basically shadow dropped it at least 24 hours 24 hours after the announcement, or less than 24 hours actually. That's not, it's going to fall under the radar to some people because you haven't had a big advertising campaign. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's out. I've played it. Obviously, I loved Alan Wake 2 so much, and I've never really at length talked about Alan Wake and my experience with it during that latter part of 2023, where I went through and played everything, played Alan Wake 1, American Nightmare, played Control, and then went into Alan Wake 2. And yeah, just lost my mind with that game. Like, so good. It's one of those games where it's like, yeah, this was made for me. It's all my love of stuff growing up, like X-Files and Twin Peaks. And even there's more modern references in there, like Lost. This is how sad and nerdy I am. There is and I may have mentioned this on one of the early episodes of Gaming Aroma, there is a sound effect in Alan Wake 2, which is an alarm, and it's the same alarm that's used in Lost, the TV show, and it's a very unique alarm that I've never heard anywhere else in any other show. And I know that Sam Lake is a fan of Lost. I've heard him talk about it. So yeah, little things like that just felt like that's for me, because I'm a huge Lost fan, and that was cool. What else? What was I saying? So yeah, just to immerse myself in the Alan Wake universe, and have been really hyped to see what they do with the DLC. And it's here. Like I say, it's called Night Springs. It's 3 chapters, 3 like micro chapters of the game. It's relatively brief. I think the DLC in total I probably finished in 4 hours. And I take my time. I really do go to every nook and cranny and exhaust all the conversations, read the files and stuff. There was one puzzle where I Googled the solution because my brain was just too fried. I'm not going to spoil what it is here, but you play as 3 different characters. You don't play as Alan Wake in any of them. And the whole thing is presented as episodes of the fictional TV show Night Springs, which is basically a Twilight Zone ripoff. Ripoff is the wrong term. It's a Twilight Zone, homage. So you play through 3 episodes of that. The DLC is weird, quirky, funny. In terms of gameplay, absolutely batshit. And this is not a spoiler, but your weapons in the game, basically, they hand you weapons that you get in the main game. And the weapons are all automatic fire. So you get like automatic fire shotguns, and you get overloaded with ammo. So the game is basically saying, go nuts, just shoot the shit out of everything, which is so much fun. It makes, it's not massively challenging, but it just makes it fun. And I think that's the point of it. It's supposed to be fun, even with the dark, weird undertones of the whole thing and the stories and the characters. And it was one of those things like, while I was playing, I would just, had a big smile on my face for most of it. And what I will say is, so episode 3 that you get, and so, okay, very mild spoilers. Like, obviously, people know that, and I'm going to be very careful. Don't worry here. If you haven't played it yet and you're going to play it, I'm good with spoilers. I know when to not give away. If you want to go in completely clean, dry. Oh my god. If you want to go completely clean, oh good lord. Yeah, maybe skip ahead 2 minutes. But I'm going to be very, very mild and just give some context. So number 3 stars Tim Breaker, so is the sheriff from the main game. And now everybody knows that Sean Ashmore, who plays Tim Breaker, was also in Quantum Break, which is another Remedy game that they don't own the rights to because it's owned by Xbox and Microsoft. And they've had to kind of dance around. Like, everything's in the Alan Wake universe and Control is all connected, and that's what Sam Lake's been doing. It's been building this universe, and they've kind of said, well, Quantum Break is not in the universe because it's owned by Microsoft and we can't do anything with it, despite the fact in Quantum Break there's a ton of Alan Wake references and connections, so at the time they probably did want to tie them in together. This DLC for Alan Wake 2 does as much as it possibly can to make those kind of links back to Quantum Break without ever mentioning it, and it dances around it in such a clever way that feels like, yeah, it is really kind of a part of it, or is it supposed to be a part of it? And the whole theme of the episode, again, I'm not going to spoil, it does so well in making you question that and what's going on here, and it gets about as, you know, onion level layered as it possibly can, and then it does some stuff with the gameplay styles in the last kind of like half an hour of the DLC that takes you through different forms that is just so cool and bold and nuts and then chilling. And yeah, this is awesome DLC. The first 2 episodes are well, what I should say is, so episode 3 actually adds more context to episodes 1 and 2, which is awesome. So that makes episode 1 and 2 more intriguing about what's going on, and kind of warrants repeat playthroughs. And they're so brief that it's worth playing through them again. Yeah, and I'm sure there's some out there, some kind of story dives into Alan Wake 2 DLC, but I need to go watch some to see what people are talking about, because I haven't sat down and like really ripped it apart. But as always, there's something extra going on here, and I love that Remedy do this and that Sam Lake does this. It's just like super fun to play, but oh, there's some really multi-layered shit going on here, and awesome DLC. And there's more coming later in the year, so I can't remember what the second DLC is called, but it's coming. I think it says it's coming in October or something, or coming soon. So yeah, huge thumbs up for the Alan Wake 2 DLC. Makes me want to play through the main game again, which I'm going to do at some point. And yeah, if you're an Alan Wake 2 fan, get on it. Go and play it. I think you need the premium version of the game, or the deluxe version, so the upgrade will cost you 12 quid if you haven't upgraded. But it's worth it. I thought it was worth every penny. They don't waste any moment in the DLC despite it being brief. It's awesome. Yeah, so that about does it. I'm going to wrap it up here because, like I said, it is Father's Day. I should get back to my family, really, and get back to my job. My dad job. Yeah, I'll get back to that. I will be back with more Gaming Aroma soon. Yeah, just the past month has just been upside down, on its head, and bear with me. Please bear with me, guys, and thank you as always for listening. Please rate the podcast, rate and review and all that stuff, because I do want to do something with this show. I'd like to keep going, and I want to keep pushing it and speak to more people, and I've got some ideas, and yeah, more video game stuff, more video game chat soon. So thank you as always. Until next time, bye.